G'day everyone, Alex McKellar here again for another Top Split Racing race replay. It's Season 3, 2022, Round 11 at Winton, which once again has proved remarkably unpopular with the punters. However, we are here for our ongoing tilt at the Season 3 standings, the championship. Pretty light on, excuse me, this race. The strength of field was 2,700, just over 27 and a half, but still, really strong drivers in there. Frattini on pole, Lucchetta, who's probably on form between him and Perez. I suppose, Rodriguez as well. Those three are the standouts this season, but Lucchetta's just hit a bit of a purple patch. Steph Herman, really quick. Sorowski, my chief sparring partner, ahead of me in fourth, myself in fifth. Philippides, who's always great to race with, of course, and found some good pace in the last season or two. The Wildlife Warrior for Goose Juice Racing, Ryan Chenoweth in seventh. Emily Strange, Simoes, I don't know Levi, Momma, and Penachia, I want to say there. So some of the names that I'm not so familiar with. Oops, hang on. We've hit the wrong button. Let's go back a sec. Hang on. There we go. We'll just go forward one on the grid rather than that. Oh, it's all happening at the moment. Hosang Kramerpour and Mark Jeffrey, stalwart of everything Skippy, is in the field as well. So even though it's only 2,700 strength of field, yeah, really tough kicking. That's been the kind of the order of the day here throughout the week. Really low participation. Single split here. This isn't even the skipjack race. The skipjack race was an absolute non-event afterwards. Everyone sort of went their own ways and didn't even turn up because the Japanese community had a league race going. And yeah, look, Winton. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll just find the cockpit camera view if I can get the race view going, and here, so 17 laps from memory, and we are, look, I was a bit off pace, so yeah, anyway, let's get on with it. So look, I was probably half a second off the front two, kind of representative, I think, of where I was at. You see Vasco in front of me battling. Interesting, the starting grid is side by side, no offset. So Vasco started in fourth, but straight away up the inside at turn 3. Yeah, you've got the inside at turn 1, but for turns 2 and 3, and you can see exactly what happened there. Sorowski took a full advantage of the side by side start rather than the offset start, and he's jumped to position, which at this track is incredibly difficult to do. But as you can see, as a result, excuse me, the guys up front, Frattini and Lucchetta, they're pretty much gone. They've got a potentially race-winning lead, because Vasco's about 1.1, 1.2 off them. Well, I had a look up with the inside of Herman as well, but I couldn't get it done. The way I sort of went into this was a little bit lackluster because of the turnout, and I was worried about the next race actually being a non-event, as it turns out it was. But for some reason I hadn't been able to put it together. I tell you, I started doing my practice on Tuesday, had some wheel troubles and all the rest of it, got them sorted, so I started my practice on Tuesday. I did my fastest lap of the week in relative conditions, not great conditions, no practice session, just relative conditions. Fastest lap of the week on Tuesday, and wasn't able to get near it ever since. So I was quite frustrated, and in this race I just kept getting slower, I felt, At this point though, I'm thinking, all right, half a second at least clear in the front row, and they're gone. Vasco showing some good pace. Steph Herman in front of me was probably 0.3 quicker on the grid. I was surprised actually that I got fifth. I thought Dimitri behind me, Philippides, might have got me as well. So anyway, so I wasn't too unhappy here. Excuse me, the championship at the moment means that this race is worth nothing, so I found it really hard to get motivated. I need to score, I think, close to 190 points or more to advance my points for the season. So I don't even think you get that for winning this. So this was a real nothing event in terms of the championship. So it was really down for practice and racecraft, and hopefully higher strength of fields to come. So, and given the pace that I was struggling with, you know, probably valuable practice at that. But you see Steph putting all sorts of pressure over Vasco in front. Dimitri content to sit at the moment. Then Steph Herman makes a big mistake. And I was worried he was going to hit the wall, so I lifted a little bit, but that's got me right up the inside, and in fact, nose in front into turn 1. But as I said, the outside really gives you inside for turn 2, so I shut the door pretty quick. I didn't want to give him the inside at turn 3, which was more likely the case, so I took advantage of that mistake, but it cost me the toe in front as well. Now Vasco and I had been pretty similar in pace. In fact, I thought I had his number during the week. Not, you know, I'm talking fractions of a second, really small fractions, but then for some reason this race, I just wasn't feeling it, and it could have just been the mindset as much as anything else, because the execution had been there during the week, at least particularly early on. But then as the week dragged on, and I really just wanted to be out there racing to get the runs or the legs under myself, and yeah, because it's a unique style of racing here, of course. Very, very difficult to pass, even with quite a discernible speed difference. So I felt Steph had my number on pacing. See, I've lost 3/10 to Vasco this lap in clean air, right? And he's closer in pace with the guys in front than he is to me at this stage, and that was concerning. So I'm just on the edge of draft, and I figure a lap or two, if I can just maybe harness a little bit of time, and then of course I make a mistake on the exit of turn 2 there, and maybe we can catch him. But you can see that little mistake cost me a better part of 2/10. Now typically in a race at this point I'd be thinking, well, Steph's faster than me, Steph Herman behind, give him half an opportunity, let him through and let him catch Vasco, because I felt like he probably had the pace to do it. But the difference here at Winton is it's damn near impossible to pass. So even if I was able to manufacture something down the track from draft and all the rest of it, I say that, even if I was able to manufacture something, I had no confidence that I was going to be able to manufacture anything. So from here on out, I'm not one who puts up, you know, rock hard defense plans for these sorts of things, but here you just got to do it. I can't guarantee Steph Herman behind me would make another mistake that had let me through. So at this point I'm sort of, as Vasco's driving away from me further still, another 2/10 in addition to my mistake, so 4/10 that lap nearly, or 3 or 4/10. Anyway, so I'm focused on P4 at this stage, and again, Hart not really in it. No points on the line, sort of a real nothing race in the context of the season, because all the races I've been doing this season have had context for the season overall. I've been only doing the big strength of field races with a view to maximising championship points. So a race like this where you turn up hoping to get good crack. I mean, we've had 4.5k softs at this time slot, week in, week out. So to have sort of half of that, almost, yeah, sort of burst the bubble a little bit. And then I got to tell you, the race after this, I just withdrew with about 5 minutes to go because it wasn't even going to split, and it was going to be a similar thing. And if I'm just going to get driven away from like that because my motivation wasn't there and wasn't able to put it together, it wasn't going to happen, which is an unfortunate and a sad indictment on the racing here this week. It's really disappointing because it's an Australian track. I had high hopes for it, but unfortunately nothing there. And you can see Steph now right on my tail. putting all sorts of pressure. So my plan here is I see the clown car driving off into the distance, because I must admit had a bit of eyes in the mirrors rather than eyes forward. Normally I have eyes all the way forward and only look at key moments in the mirrors, but maybe that was another contributing factor. Trying to get good exits, but you can see he's right there. And I thought any time now he was going to have a look. And sure enough, shows the nose. He's not quite there. And we mount defense number one. You can see I'm defending the outside of turn one. And goes to show, like I said from the start of the grid, the person in the even number grid slots, i.e. P2, P4 and all the rest of it, have got somewhat of an advantage over the folks that have out-qualified them by one spot. Because whilst you've got the outside of turn one, turn two and three, you're on the inside. And because it's a parallel start, it's not an offset start. Yeah, you know, well, we've probably talked about that enough. But, yeah, quite another unique characteristic of this circuit. I see the front three continue to pull away from us. Vasco showing really good pace. Frattini and Lucetta had all sorts of pace on the rest of the field this week. Or in this race, at least. And, you know, Vasco's hanging with him, which is great. Unfortunately, I couldn't say the same for myself, of course. Which, again, I reckon I really do put it down to the mental aspect, because I felt like the execution being there in practice, it just wasn't there in the race. So again, Steph on the tail. Probably, if anything, a little bit closer this time. And he's alongside, but not quite. Leaving room on the inside. Little bit of a 0x there you could see. And through comes Philippides. I felt I left enough room there. Lap 7. We'll go back and have a look. I think the difference you'll find there between the time that I got past and the time that Steph had a look there was that because of his mistake out of the final corner, I was actually nose in front into turn one, rather than just alongside. But we'll have a look after the race and make sure. Now I've got Philippides behind me. Now, interestingly, I wasn't as worried about Dimitri making a pass as I was Steph. I felt the pace differential between Steph and I was greater, and that he was more likely to be able to, you know, be in a position, as we've seen already twice, to make a legitimate passing a legitimate passing attempt. And he did. He's made 2 legitimate passing attempts so far. Dimitri, on the other hand, he qualified behind me, and I wasn't sure how he'd go. Actually, I wasn't writing him off by any means. As you can see already, he's starting to loom large in the mirrors, maybe showing the nose into the penultimate corner. So these last two corners are obviously important, because you can overtake into the second last corner. It's very difficult to do, mind you. It's difficult to do anyway, but you can see first time round Dimitri's not as close as Steph was, so I wasn't as worried about mounting a defence in there. Decent exit and away we go. Yeah, look, again, so disappointed with this track in terms of, well, it's not unpleasant to race, but it just, the style of racing doesn't seem to breed itself to people turning up time after time. It's the same in its first season, you know, single split races. You've got guys up the top end of town with 7, 8k I rating racing, guys who are just fresh out of rookies sitting at literally on, you know, 300-400 I rating. And yeah, it certainly makes things interesting. Races within races. Every driver has their own story in a race, and this one will have plenty of different or parallel story arcs going on given the discrepancy. It's the same thing in here, right? You got a few of the best in the business going around up the front. You would have seen a lap or two ago. We've already lapped at least, well, look at that, 3 cars at the moment. So, and we're just coming up on halfway through the race, and the boys up front are in the 28s. Frattini dropped to 28, and I'm doing, look at that, half a second slower. I don't know what it was. I certainly felt like I was holding up the two behind me. But, and you see Vasco's gone. He's 4 seconds up the road after me having to mount a couple of defences through the opening sector. It's very interesting to consider. And like I said earlier, this is a strategy I wouldn't normally use. I like to look at the flag to flag time, I call it. The time from the green flag drops to when the checkered flag falls at the end, and getting between those two times as quickly as possible. And certainly mounting a rock hard defence is not... Oh, we had a bit of a jump there. Sorry about that. And mounting a rock hard defence is not the way to do that the fastest. And however, at this circuit, yeah, look, track position is everything. And I know that Steph in the yellow car behind me is faster. I think Dimitri is at least as fast, and I don't think the pace discrepancy between us would facilitate me making any sort of legitimate passing opportunity stick, or even manufacturing a legit passing opportunity. It'd probably have to be a lunge, and I'm not a big fan of lunging. And you see, look at that, the front three, all of the 28, high 28s, and I've done a 29.4. Holy dooly, half a second. Whereas during the week, I was in the 28s. Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, so strategy here is, yeah, it's fight for every position. And like I said, at other places where the passing opportunities are a lot easier to come by, absolutely would have let Steph through at either one of the shots that he had and got him to caught up, got him to catch up to Vasco in front. But it's, yeah, I was, you know, once I did that, there was no chance I was getting the spot back, so I was hanging on to this one for grim death. Yeah, interesting. So it's a very different approach. I think it's quite unique here as opposed to anywhere else. So as you can see, we've done a few laps now with Dimitri, and I feel like although I'm going slowly and I can barely see the guys in front anymore, who just on raw pace have driven away 6 seconds. That's demoralising. So demoralising, considering I like to think I can hang with those guys at most places. Not beat them at many, but certainly hang with them. Here it's just, they've just driven away. Anyway, but we've got Philippides behind us. He hasn't really mounted a challenge anywhere. So, and I'm wondering if he's distracted in a sandwich here, being the meat in the sandwich. If he's got his eyes distracted between, or split between looking forward and attacking and defending in his mirrors. As you see, he's a bit closer this time. I was slow yet again. But there's realistically the next passing opportunities through this second sector here. Sweeping, I'm sticking in fourth. Some people drop third and back to fourth, down into first gear. Take a little bit of a narrow line there because that's the passing opportunity. Out the back, you can manufacture something either there or again here at this first gear right-hander hairpin as well. 3 hairpins in a row. Jeepers. You can manufacture something at any one of those depending on how you set it up. Here is another passing opportunity, all things being equal. There are opportunities literally anywhere here, almost. Absolutely at the end of this straight. See Dimitri showing the nose again. There's a passing opportunity, but the straights just aren't long enough to take advantage of draft. And drives seem to be quite equivalent out of the corners. So yeah, look, just tough. And I am legit slow tonight for some reason. See, I'm 3/10 off the pace again. 2 or 3/10 off the leaders. Which is demoralising, honestly. But we'll try and shake it off for a new track next week, see how we go. But we've still got this this race to finish. We're on lap 12, 5 to go, including this one. Again, sweeping left-handers through here. Look, there's a lot of character here. I just don't know why I know why the racing is people aren't fond of the racing here. It's just interesting that the layout of the track breeds it, because there is a good mix of different types of corners. But having said that, there are a lot of right angle corners, aren't there? Let's see the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At least 7 right angle corners, and then the hairpins. Jeepers. Yeah, okay. A lot of slow corners. No fast corners. Although the first chicane's relatively fast, I guess. Steph's got through. Steph's got through behind me on the back of a mistake, and I was spewing because 4 laps ago when we crossed the line, I thought I could defend from Dimitri, as we've seen, but Steph now, the game is on. Or as Sherlock Holmes used to say, the game is afoot. And I immediately switched gears in my mind, at least, because I wasn't too worried about Dimitri having a crack, but we'd already seen twice with Steph certainly willing to have a crack behind and had the pace to do so, as shown in quali and in the race so far. So I immediately switched gears in my mind. Not that I seem to have an extra gear here. You see 7 seconds already. That's embarrassing behind the leaders, just in clean air. Not battling, just driving my laps. 7 seconds, nearly 8, and places behind. Disgraceful. But as we've seen so far, the exit out of the final corner and the run into turn 1 was where Herman was most dangerous, or most of a threat. The biggest threat? Words? Okay. So he was alright here. He didn't look. I wondered though if later on in the laps, as we close this one out, he might have a look through this final couple of corners. But at this stage, he's still in a position where he can set it up. Feel like I got a reasonable run there, but he's all over me. So he's coming, he's absolutely coming. He's alongside, leave the room on the inside. Oh, the rear, he's gone, and Dimitri's gone as well. They're both gone. We'll have to have a look at that one in the replay. But that's nothing else. That's P4 stitched up, barring incident. And Herman's looks like he might have towed to the pits. Yeah, he has. Picked up some damage there, probably from the contact from Dimitri, who I would imagine had nowhere to go. Again, I felt like I left room. But we'll have a look. I felt like I left enough room without leaving too much room, if that makes sense. But like I said, it's so hard to pass here that yeah, you can't leave too much room. Anyway, we'll see how we go. And that was kind of the nature of the racing here this week. This was only my second race. I did one earlier in the day just to sort of get my race legs under me. And it wasn't too dissimilar to this, although roles were slightly reversed. I was the one driving away in a, I think it was a 1700 strength of field. So the guys up front are doing the high 28s. Vasco doing a 29.3. Oh, that's right, he got caught with lap traffic, I think, on that one. And I'm doing a 30 dead after the battle through the first sector last time round. So 2 laps to go. Lonely from here on. Philippides managed to hang on to P6. But yeah, look, again, my feeling in my bones was that it was okay. But you know, we all have our, I guess, bias to ourselves, and where we position and where we think we position our cars can often be different to where we put them in reality. So well, I guess we'll see after the race in the replay. So there was 2. There's the one on lap 7, and then I want to say it was lap 14 where the main one occurred. And I wouldn't mind actually having a look at the overtake that I did on Steph to begin with after he made the mistake. So there's probably three things to look at there, other than me driving slowly around. Yeah, again, I really put it down to just mentally not having the head in the game, not having that edge, that sharp edge. Look at that, 28.5 from Frattini, fastest lap of the race. That's quick. And I'm still doing my 29.4. Jeepers. Head's right out of the game. I'm probably thinking about reviewing the incident after the race or something. Preparing my apology if needed. But whichever, it was slow. No need to sort of drive on the edge in this position in a race. Last lap now. Yeah, it was disappointing this week because I need some points still. I've got some points to gain, and I really felt this week was an opportunity lost because there were just no points on offer. Not enough points in winning this race for me to make any more inroads on the overall season total, and probably the only race that will have that I'll be broadcasting, not racing, in Sunday Night Lights. Hopefully we get a good turnout. It wouldn't be hard to beat the top strength of field of the week. I think we only need to crack about 3,000. So, and it's been a long season, you know, and that could play a big part of it too. Having a track like Winton at the end of the season, like it is, where people have been grinding it out. Certainly, I know I've been grinding it out. I'm looking forward to the end of the season. More importantly, looking forward to starting a new season and doing it a different way. 29.4, super slow to finish, and that was all she wrote for that one. So we'll take a quick look. We'll take a quick look at the results. All right, so just pause it there, hit the results. Hopefully they come up. There we go. So Frattini drove away. He was pretty excited. He said it was the first time in 19 outings that he beat Manu. So he was pretty happy. Doesn't matter what the strength of field. So congrats to Frattini. Lucchetta there as well. Swarovski grabbed a nice P3 out of it. And myself in fourth. Jason Strange, who I'd seen in the practice service this week, he'd been relatively handy compared to where he sat relative to the field. I mean, he's 2300 I rating or so, 22, 23. And he stuck it up in P5, which is a pretty good effort for Jason. It's car number 8. Dimitri managed to hang on for 6th, and unfortunately Steph Herman all the way down there in 12th as a result of our incident. The snake catcher, I think, blew his engine. Sorry, the wildlife warrior down in P10 blew his engine. Jeffrey in P9. Great effort. All right, let's go back a few laps. So this is probably, yeah, that's probably the key moment. Let's start with the overtake that I made on Steph. This will be it. All right, so might go back to far chase. Maybe zoom in a little bit if I can. Am I even on the right thing? There we go. We'll zoom in a little bit. All right. All right, let's see how we go. So it all started before. So you can see Steph's putting all sorts of pressure on Vasco in front. He gets the rear on the outside of the final corner, a little bit of over rotation and sliding, which puts him out. And there's a real risk as you come through there of clouting that wall. Famously last season, that one hurt me a lot. Not for the fact that I did it, but the fact that the guy around me did. And you can see I've just had a clean run. Excuse me. Now Steph goes, he looked like he thought about coming over to the left to cover off, but as we've seen, defending on the outside is absolutely legit. Now you can see by the time we get into the corner, what's that? Oh, 2/3 in front into the braking zone. I take, yeah, look, that's all okay. I think I'm clear there. I think I'm clear to come across. I didn't take much curb there, so the car was nice and settled. And I think that's really, I think that one's okay. Let's see it from Steph's car. Yeah, look, there's nowhere for him to go there, so I think we're okay. All right, so from there. So this was his first attempt. And you can see the difference. I was actually in front into the first corner, whereas he's barely axle to axle. He gets more of the curb, comes out, backs out of it. Excuse me, and away we go. All right. So next time he's closer. Excuse me, a bit of a cough today. Where does he get to this time? See, again, he's probably only halfway up. Halfway up. I leave room on the inside. He's comes out off the curb. A little bit of a 0x kiss, but I look, I think that's okay. He's pushing out. And you got to remember, I'm riding on board with him, so the world is moving relative to his car. And I think he's pushing out still. So that's a 0x there. And that lets Dimitri through. Okay. All right. So he gets past Dimitri. And I think this is 3 laps to go. And he's coming up the inside. All right. So he's a bit further up this time. Yeah. Probably at least in and around halfway. I've turned in. Oh, yeah. Look, he's, I think, real time. I don't know that we even made contact. I've certainly kept it tight, but I think there's room there. You can see, even with his car sideways, he's only just kissing the apex curbing, and you can ride a lot of that apex. And I'm wondering if he's just certainly, yeah, I wonder if he's just gone a bit deep there. Interested in your thoughts, folks. Tell me what you think. This is from my car. You can see he's alongside, but you know, not fully. He's entitled to room on the inside of the corner. I feel like there is room on the inside of the corner. It's narrow. There's not much, but there is some. And I think he's always going to push out into me. And then unfortunately, what happens behind? Dimitri had nowhere to go. And Steph's car's broken, yeah. Look, I'm going to say racing incident, but interested in your thoughts. Let me know. Certainly defining point of the race, and unfortunately for Steph, the end of his. Yeah, unfortunately that was that. All right, so yeah, interesting thought. Let me know. I thought I left room. I thought he probably braked a bit and pushed out. I was certainly lucky to get away with it, that's for sure. But yeah, interesting. Hopefully to learn from that one. If you got any thoughts, feel free to share them in the comments below. So results then. 2700 strength of field. I got 1 I rating for finishing 4th. That's the other thing. You put a lot on the line when you go into those races if you're worried about I rating, which this season I'm not particularly. I'm more interested in points. And you know, I'm car 3. I finish 4th and I get 1 I rating. You know, whoop-de-doo. Whereas in a you know, strength of field that's, you know, nearly double that. Let's call it 4.5k. You know, you get 20, 30 I rating for that. So yeah, anyway, and then a lousy 128 points. See, the winner only got 163, which, you know, even if I was never going to beat Manu and Dario here on the night. Maybe if the soft was stronger, maybe my head would have been different. But yeah, nothing in that. Anyway, just quickly then going on to the season overall. You see, I've dropped down to P5. I'm sitting there behind Vasco. Vasco's jumped me after his great result in the SNL warm-up race last week, and he's now sitting 17 points. So a race like that with no points on offer means that I can't get him. So I need more points. Hopefully next week at Chicago, the new track, there'll be some better racing and I can get some more points. Maybe just squeak ahead. But we're on track for our top 5 at this stage. We've got our 1,600 points, so hopefully things will play out well. All right, folks, thanks very much for joining us again for another race replay. Check us out on Top Split TV on Twitch and on Sunday nights at 9:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, GMT plus 10 at the moment, for all the great Sunday Night Lights action. Otherwise, folks, thanks for joining us. I'm Alex McKellar. Until next time, ciao for now.